off YouTube, and then have my phone on mute. If I want to speak, I just unmute. But I think the sound is quite amazing on YouTube.
Oh, well, we're not up on YouTube yet.
There you go. You're in the shot.
Why not? Oh, we're not up?
Yeah,
Reload.
yeah, we are.
Reload.
We're live.
It's live now.
There's one viewer.
There we are. Hi, Kathy.
Good morning, everyone. I get to come out of the house this morning. It was very exciting. I think it's the first time the dog's been left in months. Okay, do we know who's here? It's now 8 o'clock.
Somebody needs to meet on there.
Well, let's get through the roll call and then ask them to mute.
Okay.
Yeah. And go through the directions.
Okay. Kathy Breitner.
I'm back here coming up.
Okay, we're gonna do roll call, everyone. It's 8:01. Okay, I'm hearing myself come back. So.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, all right, everyone, here's how we're gonna handle this. We're gonna do roll call, and then everyone please mute their phones. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, Breitner's here.
Matt Bugera.
Here.
Tim Knapp.
Tim is here, I heard him. You muted, now I can't unmute.
Josh Baker.
Here.
Jody Eubank.
She's here. I heard her.
I heard her.
Here.
Nikki Law.
Here.
Dana Mulder.
Here.
Brian Bedini. He said he was coming. He might not be. He's still in Florida.
No, they're back.
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
He told me he was coming, but he might be. Okay. Amy Gillard.
Here.
And I know Katie Vila's having surgery, so she is absent.
Okay, now we're going to move through our agenda. If you would keep your phones on mute. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hear everything going on. Just unmute as you speak. Otherwise,
I don't see it on YouTube. You guys have it?
yes, reload the page. Let me reload again, make sure I can see it.
I have 3 people watching, so
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yep. I have 3 people watching, so.
Does that happen for all of your meetings? You get this kind of?
Sometimes, but usually people mute it.
They need to mute.
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes.
All right, everyone, so please mute your phones so that we can proceed, and then I'll, I hear someone's phone is open. Yeah, I'm hearing a bounce back. Okay, we're going to start with the approval of the minutes of our March 5th meeting. You all should have those in front of you. Comments or corrections from anyone? The only correction is that you've got me present. Is that legal to say I was present by phone? Or should I be also present?
I think it shouldn't be present in the attendance, but
Present by phone in the attendance.
yeah, but absent for roll call, yeah.
Okay,
That's all it was, yeah.
Voting, yeah.
okay.
I don't know if we can change it if we need to.
I'm fine with it. Okay, any corrections, comments on the minutes? If If not, would someone please unmute their phone and make a motion to approve?
Was there, see, this is Amy, was there any corrections at all?
No.
I didn't, it's, okay, it is hard to hear.
Amy, are you watching on YouTube?
I am not, I can't find it on YouTube.
Go to the agenda, and the link is right in the middle of it.
Well, I have it, I mean, I clicked on that link and it is not showing it.
I went to YouTube and saw it, and I was there, and the sound was great, but when I talked, nobody could hear me. And my phone wasn't muted.
You need to talk through your phone, you can type through YouTube, but you need to talk through the phone.
Oh, there it is, it's there now.
Good.
Margot, I can't hear you at all.
Tim, you have to talk through your phone and not through YouTube, so you can watch it on YouTube, and you can't talk through it.
That's what I thought, but, okay, thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I have, Amy, did you make a motion? Yes. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Nikki? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
To roll call.
We need to do a roll call? Okay, we're gonna do a roll call on that since we can't hear.
Breitner,
Yes.
Bugera,
Yeah.
Knapp,
Yes.
Baker,
Yes.
Eubank,
She says yes. Jody, can you say yes?
We'll come back. Law,
Yes.
Mulder,
Yes.
Gillard,
Yes.
is Brian on yet?
Yes.
Mulder?
Yes.
Gillard? Yes.
Okay.
Brian Onion?
Yes.
Mulder?
Yes.
Okay, someone's got their, someone please mute. We're hearing the YouTube video playback.
Someone's got their,
It could be coming from the chamber. If you guys have the YouTube voice video going at the same time as the telephone going, it could be picking up the speakerphone from the chamber.
It hasn't happened in other meetings though,
No.
so we're an anomaly.
And then Margot, I can barely hear you when you talk. I don't know if you got that spider phone out or not, but it's really hard to hear you.
Yeah.
Move it further.
We have it out.
It's out.
Okay.
Okay, public comment. If anyone on the phone or YouTube that would like to make a comment this morning on anything that's not on the agenda? Why do I miss you all? This is tough. Okay, let's then go on to our full agenda. I'm gonna hand it over to you, and we can all pipe in as we need to.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Jody?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Jody, I can hear you.
Yes.
I just wanted to remind Victor. I just wanted to remind Victor about the correct asphalt.
Where, Jody? In the pier parking lot, if I remember. The pier parking lot?
And the lines in the pier parking lot.
Okay.
Thank you, Jody.
Okay, everyone, so when you're going to speak, please mute your computer or device that YouTube is playing on the background. So you're going to have to multitask.
Can I suggest that we either, whoever's not in the building, just do the phone, because the phone is picking up the lag on the YouTube,
Okay,
and it's just creating a dumpster fire, basically.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. Just,
Yeah, I turned off my YouTube a while ago and I'm just on the phone because That's right,
Yeah.
that's just
Okay.
hard to understand.
Good suggestion.
I'm not on YouTube.
Disable YouTube, that's much better already. Thank you for the suggestion. Okay, we got that suggestion from Jody.
Mhm.
All right, moving into COVID-19 updates and issues.
Okay. I think we've encountered our first
We
issue.
have encountered, yes.
All right, so I'm going to go over the current updates and issues. I'll start with May 7th, beginning May 7th, per Executive Order 2020-69 and 2020-70, residential building and realtors will be allowed to begin work.
That's today.
That is today. This is going to increase the amount of traffic greatly to the downtown, so I just putting it out there as we start moving and thinking about things that are happening. So far, we have several event cancellations, the Memorial Day Parade, car show, the blessing of the Fleet Party, but the blessing is going to be happening. Bliss Fest and Cherry Festival have both been canceled, but we are waiting for City Council to make a final decision on the July 4th activities at their June 1st council meeting. The parks and beaches are open at downtown and through the city, but the playgrounds are still taped off, so you're not able to.
I see violators all the time across from my house on the
Yeah.
playgrounds.
Well, that's right, you're really close to those.
Yeah.
There's people playing ball also.
Yeah, I think you're allowed,
Balls.
allowed to play ball.
Oh, my God.
They're playing ball.
I think you can play catch.
But it looks like it's a family, a mom and dad and some little boys who could not wait any longer.
You can still swim at both the dog beach and the public beach. The moratorium on rentals was lifted at the council meeting as of May 5th. So, but the governor's orders are still in effect until May 28th as far as
May
when.
15th for rentals, right?
Yeah, for rental, it's May 15th.
Oh, okay.
We just don't know if she'll extend that beyond it.
That's a great list, Margot. Thanks for that update. Is that on our DDA Facebook page or website? Because I've had people ask me, is the Memorial Day Parade going to happen? Is the July 4th Parade going to happen? But if we have an updated list as things get canceled, and like you said, the blessing of the fleet's canceled, but the blessing is not. So I had people ask me that had boats about that as well. I'm like, well, I said you can social distance on the boats. Maybe they still will, but it was unclear for a lot of people that they're asking me what's being canceled and not canceled.
I think that's a great idea.
Great idea. Just have a section on there. Regatta is still on at the moment. The regatta is dependent on the two regattas before us, Bayview and Chicago, and they are both on with some changes. So at the moment, that's on. Not sure about how much we'll party, but it's on. Street music, Victor, we're going to continue with street music because if that's do we even ask permission for that? I don't think we ever have.
No, I don't think so.
We have decided, the Chamber Foundation does this. The Chamber Foundation has decided to stop the children's activities this summer. That is the area each week that creates the most crowd. There's not much as far as a problem with crowds around the beaches if they could spread out. Assuming we can raise the money for it, we're going to continue. The other thing the Chamber Foundation does on July 4th is that we do the fireworks. So if the parade and the art show are not allowed, the fireworks decision, I hope, would be separate. And we have to raise $55,000 really fast. So we need that decision by June 1st is still tight for us to get the money.
I would suggest mentioning that, I guess, at the next council meeting, that's the decision you guys want to make, that just separating those in that way. The only concern I think that I would have as for the fireworks going on is it still does draw crowds to gather. So I would imagine council would want to talk about that. So
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But
So-
Governor Cuomo says fireworks in New York City, so maybe we could too. Okay, we just need to know because we've got to come up with a big price tag
Yeah.
in a short period of time. All right, and other updates?
One more update is that the farmer's market will be opening. It has been deemed essential. They will be offering pre-sale, they're spacing, the booths. There's gonna be no hot food and hand washing stations. And correct me if I'm wrong on any.
That sounds good.
And she said she's spreading out I think one of the council meetings, they gave her permission to go down the street, so she's spreading the booths out 10 feet. I thought that was a great idea as well.
There was a good article in the Petoskey News Review yesterday about that and how it's all laid out.
It was a great
That's
article.
where I got that.
Yeah, that was good.
So
Anything else on that?
I don't have any more updates, but.
The governor seems to have been issuing some of the bigger orders towards the end of each week. So maybe today or tomorrow we'll have some clarity on what happens the 15th, unless you have some insight, Victor?
Not on that.
She is supposed to be speaking today at 3.
Okay.
Yeah, she will be speaking. I do have, yesterday we got an executive order that allows us to extend remote meetings through June 30th. So we're working here on getting a better setup. Our Sunrise Electronics was closed throughout this. So we weren't able to get our media people to come in. So hopefully they'll be reopening soon. But so yeah, we wanted, at last council meeting, they wanted to ensure that even if the governor didn't extend the remote meeting exemption, that we would still provide people an opportunity to participate remotely through YouTube and teleconference or some other way. So we're working on improving that.
I thought it was great Monday night to sit out on the back porch with a glass of wine and watch a council meeting. It was quite nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one more update. I'm sorry. And that was, we've decided, Kyle, is it 2 parking spots on the block that for curbside?
There are new curbside markers in front of some of the takeout places.
What we tried to do is we had a request to have curbside parking. So we put out like, I got 12 or 10 spots down there. Tried to do them for the businesses that are open right now that are offering curbside. So we have a couple, we have one on the south side and a 200 block in front of Turkey. So right now that's the only business open. We have one in the middle on the north side with a 200 block. House and Cowbells are both offering curbside. So I put one right there at the corner. I put one in front of the Outfitter and
Paper station.
because they're both doing curbside. And then on the south side of that block, there's only one in front of I try to put it in the middle of the block, the Rocking Horse towards store, but there's, between the covers is also open, but there's been vehicles parked there that are above. So I'm trying to figure out how I can accommodate between the covers. And then I put spots down by Pearson's and also by Bar Harbor and in New York.
Good.
And then there's also one spot behind in the lot behind Cowbells, right behind their door, because a lot of the elderly people like to pull up behind there instead of parking on Main Street.
Great.
I have, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I have 2 updates. Well, we're gonna open the 15th for curbside. And then we'll be getting ready for the 29th, hopefully, 29th reopening. Mayor, I've heard that you have some policies and procedures for restaurants when they open on the 29th. We haven't received anything, nor have I been able to find anything as far as, my assumption was tables 6 foot apart and 9 foot apart if you look at the table, if you look at the chairs when they're out, but social distancing. And so we've removed 18 tables from our restaurant.
Right. I talked to the health department, this was a couple weeks ago, to see if they had any guidance on indoor dining. And they on indoor dining, that they will use her guidelines for what we have to do up here. If you go to their website, they've got COVID update, the local health department, Northwest Michigan Health Department. They have a COVID update that has all the current sanitation rules for operating takeout. And it's a pretty extensive list, you know, sanitize the building, and face mask, gloves, take temperatures. We have to go through the whole protocol when staff comes in, take their temperatures, ask them a series of questions, and then they have to sign off.
Yep, I have all of that. But you
Yeah,
don't
but
have
that-
anything, you don't have anything from Whitmer as far as, what's your assumption as far as distance between tables?
I have no idea. I'm assuming it's going to be, everyone else in the country seems to be doing 25% or 50% capacity. And then in addition to the 6-foot spacing. So, but, you know, when I talked to Michelle from the health department, she said they were waiting for what the governor has to say, and then they put out a bulletin at that point.
Okay,
We're kind of in limbo right now.
okay. One other update, the Pointer boat will not be running this year.
Oh, no. Okay. Bummer.
Well, if you look at it, I'd only be able to get 6 people on it, maybe. And I did read something that said that it all had to be the same family. And so I would lose money by running that boat. I just can't do it, not after being closed as long as we've been.
How about the Little Traverse Ferry?
Oh, so,
I spoke with Evan the other day, and he has no clue. And he says he's transportation. So he falls under a different
He does.
realm than I do as a charter courtesy history boat. And I talked to Dave Crowley last night, one of my captains, and he said that Starline's protocol is 2 on a bench, skip a row, 2 on a bench, skip a row. Can you imagine how long it's gonna take to get people over to the island?
Wow.
And the ferry, they're continuing to go forward with it because they are transportation. I'm on that board as well. So they're having delays on the dock that was supposed to be made, but I know they're working with the city to have an alternate drop-off pickup spot until they get that dock finished. The people that are making the dock have a later completion date, but it's still set to finish the dock this year as well.
yeah, so
In Lansing, it's already been delivered and they're starting to refit on it now.
Tim, so we heard back that they're looking at a potentially mid-June installation of that dock. They first said six weeks delay, which would have put it into July. But now the flotation dock system let us know that they probably would get into that, start that at mid-June. We did offer the Ferry Foundation, as you know, to see if we can look at the alternate locations. I don't know if they're talking to anyone private like IBS for one of those alternate locations, but we're pretty fine with that as long as, you know, when they have that spot to bring it up with us. So hopefully they'll start this summer. It's dependent on a few different things, you know, and we don't know what the guidance will be like for transportation companies like that, for mass transit. So there's still a lot to see.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One question going back to some of the things we talked about with this. Have there been any talks between the city or anybody doing the activities that are still going forward with something like the farmers market as far as like crowd management?
So at our last council meeting, the Chief Knight said they will have a police officer present at the farmers markets, and the farmers market they had their own capacity rules that the state put in place for how many people can be in their area. So I know the Hannah at the farmer's market said they'll be monitoring that, and we'll have police presence there to keep things in check as well. Right, Kyle?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you take, the Farmers Market Association and the state came out with a calculation, I think it's you divide how many square feet you have, or by 1,000 by 113, that'll give you 6 foot around everybody. We did the math, Ann and I did, and because we're extending it down Zorn Park to the end of Zorn Park, it allows us about 195 people in the farmers market.
Good. When retail is allowed to open and there are suggestions for safety within shops, we might want to be involved in sharing some of that to the shop owners. I don't know, requirements, suggestions, I don't know what they might be.
I have a bunch of suggestions from our vendors and our associations. This is Josh.
Okay, great.
So I can send those to Margot.
Please
That would
do.
be great.
Okay.
And they're just listening to my mother-in-law trying to open all the things they're pondering on how to handle safety. As much as we can be helpful, we should. I'm also starting to get some questions, several in the last couple of days, about any shops that we're losing downtown. We have already lost Propellers that happened prior to this, and Spice Harbor is now gone completely. And that's all that I've heard. Anyone else heard of any rumblings, movements? I think we're intact. Good, okay. And then the retail spaces, we always look at those. It's going to change how we look, how we try to find businesses to go in those spaces. At the moment, we have the bank building space down on Bay and the Propellers space. And now we have Spice Harbor space. And that is it.
So the bank building, there's nothing going in there, because I know they're doing a bunch of remodeling and putting walls up and stuff in that building.
Maybe there is.
I'm pretty sure that Matthew is going to put a bunch of offices for bank people in there.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense. Okay. And we do have a new shop with sea bags that came into town. Boy, they opened a lot of spots in Michigan this year. They're also in Charlevoix, and I think Saugatuck. What a year to have to put investment into.
They were from Maine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I would like to add that we are opening on Saturday. We're going to start opening the Harbor Master Building bathrooms, the public
Good.
bathrooms there. So that'll be from 8 to 6 right now.
So for the construction that starts back today, down on the waterfront, there won't be restrooms.
No, we're doing some slight remodel there, fixing some countertops and stalls there today and tomorrow, because
Okay.
construction was allowed to start that. So
Okay.
that should be done.
This is Amy. I can't hear Victor at all. It's just mumble.
So we are opening the Harbor Master bathrooms on Saturday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They will be open at the waterfront. We're doing some work inside them right now. That's why they can't be opened immediately.
Perfect, thank you. Also, I just want to report that the festival is going to make their decision in the next week about whether we're going forward or not.
I don't even want to hear that answer. I'm thinking optimistically by September. Amy, think about it. If we have to go through another winter of this without books, it would really.
Well, there are lots of books available. Whether we can talk about them all together at the same place at the same time in close quarters.
I know. Okay, we're going to go into our updates. We're at item 6 now on the agenda. Let's look at our main item today with probably Margot and Dana on the tree bases. Okay, we're getting some feedback from someone's phone.
Okay, we're going to
Okay.
There we go.
All right, so an update on the Main Street Tree Base project. I sent you all yesterday a revised bid schedule. So the bid will be posted on May 12th and May 13th in the newspaper. We're gonna hold a pre-bid meeting on June 8th, and then the bid opening on June 10th. The bid will be awarded June 16th, and then we're gonna commence the construction project September 14th after Labor Day, and with a project completion of October 31st. These dates haven't, the actual project hasn't changed. Just, we'd already been thinking fall and Labor Day. We're just pushing back the bid schedule just to comply with the governor's stay-at-home orders right now. So but that shouldn't affect us in any way. After a lot of discussion with the tree board, we narrowed it down. I've been working a lot with Joe O'Neill. There are 9 approved trees that we're going to be putting in. It's the recommendation of both Ben Vealing, Dana, Joe O'Neill, everyone that we recommend to council that all of the trees be replaced, just thinking that it's going to be a lot more cost effective. So that is part of the new bid. The new bid also includes the electric conduit being placed. After looking at it, it didn't look like it was going to be a good solution to put the electric junction box underneath the tree grates. So the way Joe has engineered that is that it is going to be a sand-colored electrical junction box in the concrete. It'll be about 12 by 18 inches outside of the tree grate right next to it, but set into the sidewalk. There's a larger one right down by the bank building that you can see if you want to see what that looks like. But that's really, Ben did not feel that it was good for the tree health to have the junction box sitting on top of the roots. We are recommending that any of the trees that are being removed that are under 3 inches now to be salvaged and possibly relocated in the city, but not replaced back on Main Street. Joe has created a new streetscape, I guess, with which now includes 38 trees. He's relocated and all of the trees so that they are uniform, lining up with the striping, so none of the trees will be hitting any of the parking spots or door swings or anything like that. I have the drawings and all of that, but so the bid looks in order. It's long, and if anyone wants to look at it, they're welcome to. But that's kind of where we're at with it. If you have any questions,
What would we expect for responses back? How many interested parties?
Well, this is going to be interesting because this is a mix of a project. Normally, for regular city projects, we usually get between 3 and 5 contractors or bids. So I don't expect this to be any more than that, but I don't think it's a very complicated job. It's just different pieces than we normally with trees. And so there's a few different pieces with electrical trees and the grates and the sidewalks, but I think we'll get a few.
Good.
Yeah.
and there are.
Just curious about that. So is there going to be like a lead contractor and then he will sub out, let's say, the electrical or the trees?
That's normally how it's done when these bigger projects, just like with a road project, someone, they subcontract for someone to do the grass seed, the asphalt, and et cetera. So yeah, I'm probably assuming that would be the case. That's up to them.
I just have one thing to add to what Margot said. We did end up settling on 9 trees that would be acceptable, but we did ask
9 species.
Contractors to please provide their 4 to 5 ones that they would like to provide, just so we don't end up with 9 different species, and then the tree board will finalize what goes in. We actually have a meeting, tree board next week.
Good.
Did I totally miss the meeting about the bricks and the 2 different contracts?
Okay,
The last
so-
time
I can answer that yes, the council, in their special meeting, when they called a special meeting, they they did address the brick alternate detail. And originally, the council had said that to move forward without any brick detail. It came back up at the special meeting and they did approve to go forward with an alternate line item for the brick detail. So we do have that. We also have an alternate line item for irrigation to be tapped off at the lamp posts to run that. But it's all going to come down to once council looks at the cost. We are having to go further to the intersections because of electrical. After Joe talked with Dan Huey, we're having to go closer to the intersections, which is going to mean more concrete work.
Okay.
So more cost.
I have one more thing to add. We had discussed, I don't know if it was just Margot and Victor and I, but about what, and Kathy too, about what to do over the summer with the tree pit.
Right.
And I think we had settled on if the city is able to pull it off, it would be great to get them mulch.
Just mulch.
Yeah, and I've run that by Lucas, and with the shutdown, essentially, they've been limited to the work they can do. So hopefully they can fit that in, and because they're going to be playing catch up on a lot of other stuff right now. So I'll pass it to them again, but I don't know, it probably won't be on their top priority. So I'll report back.
Is there any interest in seeing if maybe one of the landscapers would like to do it at cost just as a community service?
I'll talk to Lucas first, if they can get it in. If not, then I'll pass it back to you guys.
Okay. Okay, so this has been a major project for us the last, 4 months? And we've gone through a number of meetings with our committee, with the DDA, council, the tree board, to get to the point of going out to bid. Thanks, Margot, for spearheading this and making it happen. We were quite smart in our suggestion to make this a fall project, not knowing what was about to hit us, but the timing will be great to do this in the fall. Okay, any other comments on the tree bases? It's going to happen. It's a good thing. All right, promotions. Do we have anything on promotions?
I don't think we do. I know we have been planning to meet with the Ice Fest committee in May, but I'm not sure if it's really.
Any other comments on the tree bases?
Thank you for all your hard work.
Good job, everybody.
One nice thing about the Ice Fest is it's outside and we're all wrapped up and we have our own face masks already for winter time. So should that happen, I think we should be safe. We got someone's phone, please mute. We're getting some feedback again. Thank you. All right. Finance.
So it was recommended to me that we either establish a separate committee or just begin to conduct regular meetings with myself, Nick, or Victor, and the board member that wants to be the treasurer. So we can either look at creating a committee, or we can just say we're going to do quarterly, regular meetings, because at this point we have not been doing that.
We should do that.
So I don't know. Anyone wants to? If that's, we can discuss that next as to who is our treasurer if we have one.
Would anyone like to be treasurer?
I had thought we had decided that the city was going to handle that, or no, at the last meeting?
But our bylaws suggest a treasurer, correct?
Good deal.
Yeah.
So we,
Did we discuss changing the bylaws or something, or are we just going to?
We did discuss that, and that's on our next agenda. But we do need a board member to be part of. I feel like we need a board member to be part of some sort of committee or meetings in regards to the finance, and not just being myself with Nick or myself and Victor. I mean, I think it's good to have a board member.
I'd like to nominate Jody. She did such a good job of this spreadsheet.
Jody, would you like to do that? I'm
I had to duck out.
taking silence as yes. Okay.
Oh, gosh. We can coordinate.
Yeah, we can coordinate that we'll get back together, but we should be doing that. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think we should be looking over the finances. I mean, I'll be willing to help with it too.
Yes, Tim would be great. So let's do it. Tim and Jody and Nick and Margot to start. And I can be there too if needed.
Wait, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Yes. I definitely think we should be looking over the finances. I mean, I'll be willing to help with it too.
Jody, are you there?
I'll be treasurer.
Okay, there we go. We got a treasure.
Great, yay, I'll do it
All right, good.
with Tim's help.
Tim will help. Great. Okay. Then we're moving next into the same segue right into the board positions and terms.
So
I am, yes.
we discussed at the March 5th meeting that the terms were 4 years. And I'm not sure, it seemed like there was kind of confusion as to whether the terms were 3 years or 4
I
years.
think we have to staff to get somebody on YouTube.
Yeah, can we get,
Mute.
mute your phones, please? Okay, thank you.
At the March 5th meeting, we discussed the terms in the bylaws. Right now it's 4-year terms. I know there was some confusion last meeting as to whether they were 3-year, 4-year, or even possibly 2 years. It was also recommended that we change the bylaws somewhat to create cohesive terms and elections, because I know in the bylaws right now, it says we have a chair, vice chair, treasurer, and secretary. At this point, we discussed that Kathy is the chair and Tim is the vice chair, but now it looks like we might have a treasurer.
Yes,
and
the
the
treasurer.
secretary, I would do the duties of the secretary, but we need to address it in the bylaws if we're going to leave it that way. So just those things along with the terms and maybe selecting a meeting, an annual meeting for elections or, and change out of people. It's just all, I don't know. It looks like it needs to be.
Typically, when there's a rollover, it's January, and that's when we would do the elections too. But let's just dive into I'll start with that, dive into the bylaws and see where we might need to make some changes.
Can we change the bylaws at any point during the year, or is that?
It's a process. Has to go back in front of council, doesn't it?
So the bylaws, I'll just read the amendments part really quick. If you guys can mute your phones.
Please mute your phones so we can go on.
These bylaws may be altered, amended, or repealed, and new rules adopted by a vote of 5 of the members of the DDA, subject, however, to approval of the same by the city council.
Okay.
So at any time, as long as it gets both DDA and council approval.
So we can proceed. I'll start. Anybody else wants to assist who likes to read bylaws? For some reason I do. Somebody else can join me on that and we'll dive in and take a look at changes. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Kathy, this is Amy. I'm willing to help you on that.
Oh, good. Thank you, Amy. Just another bylaws nerd.
Yeah, we just went through a change, and an update, so I'm used to reading them.
Okay, great. Okay, let's move into our director update. Wayfinding.
Oh, wayfinding. Okay, I added a couple things for that.
Actually, I had a thought in the night recently, the state and Maine kiosk.
Yes.
There's one parked somewhere from in front of the Mossberg project. We could move that one if we needed to. Rob took one down that was by, across from the Lyric.
We have the.
Oh, we have it
sign.
too?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have the kiosk. Okay, so I guess I'll start on wayfinding. I trust it. That's okay.
And usually about this time of year is when we start working on updating the maps for the wayfinding, and time is gonna be awkward this year.
So I contacted Simplicity and I have quotes for the updates of the maps. Right now, for the map update, to update 18 of them, we do have the kiosk for Main Street. It just does, they have it stored down there. It is finished. They just haven't installed it. But Victor did negotiate that lease for that spot. I would recommend not putting it in until we do the sidewalk project, but.
So wait till fall?
Just because they're gonna rip it up. They're gonna have to work, with that concrete, that intersection.
Okay.
I don't know.
I have a question too about the content. Would it be worth sending out an email to all the DDA members about what their plans are for this summer? And that might also help us suss out like who's not gonna open or is planning on closing or whatever.
It's pretty easy to walk around. I've done that every year. I can handle that.
And I've been sending out, that's one thing I've been trying to do is keep in contact with all of the DDA, businesses and restaurants throughout this, particularly throughout the COVID-19 time, and trying to find out what promotions they're running, and most of them have said they're moving forward. I don't see a lot of, I haven't gotten a lot of responses that we will not be opening if, after this.
I did have another question. Did I hear through the grapevine that Monogram might not be opening?
I had heard they were gonna do one more year.
Yeah, I have heard also one more year. The building is for sale. Now that I had heard, but I did hear that before this. I have not heard an update. The sign still shows as if they're going to open.
Yeah, I don't know how we know if people are opening. Like, just on a walk, it looked like Becky Thatcher had taken all the jewelry out of her window recently. Then, McLaughlin has had that sign since last year. Are they planning to open this year? That kind of stuff.
Right. I know Becky Thatcher is gone. She's apparently got divorced or something and is shut down her shop here in town.
Okay,
It
so
will
that
not
is
be
the
open
first.
until summer.
All right. The information on the kiosks, it's a challenge every year to get it updated in a timely fashion to both include the changes as well as have it in front of our guests. There are, for example, on the current one, it shows Sam's Grace's under dining, and it's hard. It will never be accurate as things move around. And to be honest, in all of the years that I've done these maps, in the visitor's guides, I've done the one in front at the state and Main for 20 some years. No one has ever, at least a visitor has ever said it's wrong. So I spend way too much time making it right. But we do make mistakes and things change. So it'll be as accurate as it can be.
I wonder if we would institute a process whereby we send a note out every year and say we need to get any changes for the map in by May 1st, and then we do our update after that. So every year we're kind of on the same schedule. As you said, we can't keep it updated all the time, but maybe we have like a drop dead.
The only,
Lindsay, the one that, what's her first name?
Beth, there's an N and Shannon's in there too at Monogram. The other part of that, damn it, is that we also include every single business in Harbor Springs on those. So that's everything on Lake and everything up and down through Fairview up through. It's really a lot of work, and typically what we've done is just drive through there and note who's missing and make calls to change it. Downtown's easy. It's the rest of town that's not.
Right.
But we make it as accurate as it can be.
Right.
So we need to make a call on that sometime.
So I have a quote. I talked to Simplicity for the 18 signs for the new directories. the proofs and the installation, it's $1,293.13.
It's actually not a lot for all that.
That is applying it directly to what we have. He said, you know, he wouldn't scrape it down, he would just apply it right over the directories that are there. He said that will work for a while, and then eventually it would have to be, you know,
Resurfaced.
yeah, so,
I got a list going already of changes, and I'll keep working on that.
yeah, and I've got, and that's been one of the big things, since we didn't have a directory, a downtown directory, and that's one thing that it's nearly completed.
Okay.
And I've tried to contact a lot of people with getting the information they want, correct. because-
And we will have to look at that. I mean, $1,000 is great, but the budget that we have here for 2020 puts it in a surplus for $300. I don't see that directory in the budget, so that puts us at a negative $700. So
Right. Yeah.
before we pull the trigger on that, we have to find the money.
That's-
Yeah,
That probably should be an annual line item.
it should be,
Yes.
it should be.
I know when it had been discussed that before it was going to be an every other year project, I don't know. But we've obviously had a lot of changes this year. so.
Yes, we do.
The other quote I have for wayfinding was that parking sign. I know Tim had asked about the backside of that at the last meeting. And that sign is $864, plus then he's got another $665 for the installation. I think I talked to Lucas and he said, if we want to do some of the signs, he can do them, but it's just a matter of when he's gonna, you know, he can get his guys. It cannot be, we can put it in right now, this minute.
Victor, did
Can
we
you
make
say
it?
that again? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it all.
The cost for that parking sign's about $1,400.
It's $15.29.
$15.29. So my question is, have we put together an arrangement yet with the Methodist Church for their parking lot?
Put that together yet because we were going to meet actually the week the lockdown started. So we're still delayed talking with them about that. Whether we can move the sign or not, I'll ask Lucas.
Tim, from memory, is the sign at the Methodist Church double-sided?
That one is double-sided.
I would move it. Could we flip-flop them?
I think that's a great idea and it saves us $1,000.
Yeah,
So flip-flop the Methodist sign parking lot
with the Third
with
Street.
the 3rd Street.
Because the Gurney's,
It's much bigger.
I can't wait. If anybody here is when Gurney's being open, I'm like craving a Gurney sandwich. But anyway, I think it's much more like you're right, Kathy, much more active, much more, you see it a lot more. And you know, when you drive down, you just see a blank sign that doesn't say parking. So, you know, yeah, flip probably those would be good. I think we don't have to even pay for the other sign at all.
I think that would be a great solution. Okay. The one at the Methodist Church slightly got hit by a snowplow or something, but we can take care of that if we look at moving it. There's also some concrete work still, and one in front of the chamber that was to have been repaired. I think there were a couple of bases that were needing something. I know that I can see the one from the chamber every day. It does not look good. And that was to have been repaired last year and didn't happen. So let's go, I can find some documentation on that. Okay, website update.
The website is, I got a quote from Gaslight Media. The initial quote, just to build it, was not, I didn't think terrible. It was the ongoing cost that the project development was $3,500 to kind of create a basic site. The problem was it was going to be another month for monthly fees, you know, another $250, well, for sure another $100 basically a month. And then if you wanted to go upgrade into this, another $180. That just for maintaining it, and that just didn't seem, so I'm looking at it, I'm working, to do that. We may need to look at doing some sort of contract, hiring somebody as a consultant, to assist a little bit on it, just because that's not my,
Margot,
expertise.
did we get other quotes on that?
No, that was just from Gaslight Media, who, I know the city uses, and they do, many sites all over from.
I might also suggest that, there's Marcy Wolf, she does that, and then also,
We've gone that direction before, and I think that, I know that that the DDA used Marcy at one point, and I don't think that's the direction we'll be going in again, but,
okay, so here's one other idea. The law, Kim, correct me, I think it's, I can't think of the name of her business, but it's Krista, is a member at the law, and she did a beautiful job on their website.
There is a person at the loft you could contact. The other option would be, $3,500, Gaslight might do a great job, but from what we've gathered, and I've dealt with it recently with the ferry website that we've been having many issues with and trying to get that taken care of. And then also working with Kate Monti she's at Harbor Inc. She has that skill set in her wheelhouse. So you might even go to her and say, hey, if you were going to completely revamp this website, you don't have to use Gaslight for hosting. You can go to like GoDaddy and have it hosted there. So there's a lot of different easier ways that you could get help too, or just say, hey, you as being Margot, go to Kate and say, hey, can you help me, give me some direction, and pay a consulting fee of a few $100s. It might be an option too.
and I know Chris from the Lyric has offered some, some of his services kind of like that too.
If you guys are completely looking at redoing a website, Tim had brought up GoDaddy. When I did, not that I'm a social media or website designer, but I used mine through GoDaddy, and it's super easy to change.
It is.
Super easy to add action buttons, and for somebody that can't do that kind of stuff, being able to upload, and it's not expensive at all. I pay, I don't know, maybe $200 a year to maintain my domain, and putting in for the being able to find it easier. If we don't have that kind of budget to spend that kind of money on that, looking at a platform like GoDaddy is, if you're just looking for basic, and even going into a little bit more moderate type of design, it would be really easy to do.
I think that's a good idea.
Just from my own experience with my business too, is I think if we, pay the fee to get a really sharp, cool-looking website set up, that upfront fee, and then if we go to GoDaddy or something like that, where Margot could actually add, okay, we've got a new business to add to that, it's really pretty easy. Otherwise, you can just pay for it on an as-needed basis rather than contract every month, or maybe you've got 6 months where you're not doing anything.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. And we've got a lot of resources that can
Yeah, we do.
help on that. I live with one of those
So if I could
resources.
suggest a couple of phone calls, maybe to Kate Monti and maybe to Krista at the loft, and just ask them what they would suggest as a good cost-effective way to get it established up front, and then how to manage it.
Okay.
I'm looking at the Loft site, and it is really sharp. It's Krista Renzel, and her company is Nimble Kettle.
That's right.
Yes.
With a lot. Okay, because Harbor Inc. was designed by Gaslight Media.
Harbor Inc. was originally designed by, we worked with
I don't
some,
think Krista did.
Traverse City.
No, I don't think she did either. And we are actually looking at redoing the Harbor Inc. site. If you look on it, there's some county websites on there. So
Yeah.
we're in contact with the counties whether or not we're going to continue to do that. That was a fee for service we had quite some time ago. And then because of regulations, the counties weren't to pay for that, but they still had their site on there. And I believe it hasn't been updated updated for years, so I didn't know even it's accurate. So there's a lot of work that's being involved in that Harbor Inc. website as well,
Good.
which is the law, and then that ties into the Loft website as well. So therefore, that's one of the reasons we've been talking about all this stuff.
Great.
Okay.
And Kate's working, part-time for the Loft, so we were even talking about paying her a consulting fee just to revamp the website at a one-time cost, and then, get it
Okay.
set up for us and
Good
actually
resource.
update it and then go from there.
Great. Good suggestions, everyone. Thank you. Okay, future projects.
Okay, so I just wanted to go back a little bit, it goes with that. I've been, kind of future and ongoing, but I've been keeping in contact with businesses and a lot of the restaurants during this time, trying to find out what promotions and things that they're offering, and also trying to send out information that might be helpful. And I know we discussed some of that, so we're going to keep going with that. I know Jeff and I meeting with all the businesses in the fall to kind of set some of the groundwork of, so like the shutdown looking buildings and all of that. So that's on there. Also, right now, I've been working a lot with the city, some of the volunteers from churches and things like that, state road provisions for getting those meal vouchers out, and now kind of coordinating, I'm coordinating with different businesses downtown to hang banners for athletes all in their windows. That's kind of a lot of that stuff that's been going on. I've got the database is nearly completed. It was of locating correct information. So I think we'll have an active live direct. I'm now on the Harbor Way Committee. I know it's not totally within the downtown district, but since it is going to be coming through the downtown, he asked if I would be part of that, and I've been, I know we just found out, and Victor heard that MDOT has turned down the use of the drainage area for the bike path, but I think we're going to try to appeal that. Is that?
So yeah, we are going to see what steps we can take to appeal that. And a little bit concerning. They said that it was because of safety and liability issues. They didn't want to use it, but I feel like crossing over M119 is a bigger safety issue, and Petoskey has one as well. What they said was that when Petoskey built their tunnel, it was with both pedestrian crossing and spillway in mind, where ours was just designed for a spillway. But it seems just technicalities. So we're hopeful that we can do something, but right now we got to regroup. So
Okay.
And then the only other future thing that we've been discussing is the Main Street lighting. And I know there's been some, I know that was a project that DDA started in the last couple of years, and we'll continue to look into that. And I spoke with, when I was down at the conference way back in what feels like an eternity ago.
Yeah.
I spoke with some of the vendors there. One of them I know had been part of the discussion that had spoken, him and Rachel before. And I know Victor and I were set to meet with somebody on lighting, and then that got canceled when everything got canceled. So
Okay.
we'll just kind of see where that's.
Okay,
I do have.
I have a few items. Are we gonna go by roll call?
go right ahead. Dive in.
Okay. Number one, back to the tip thing.
Can you
So,
speak louder,
A
Dana?
little bit louder, Dana.
Yeah. Okay, is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to the tip thing, we have a new county executive. And actually, I had a really long conversation with him around the time of Ice Fest to see if the county wanted to participate in some way. He seems like a great guy. I wonder if we might have another go at him, like Kathy. I would be happy to sit in or call him or whatever.
Victor, you have a take on that?
No.
Last we heard was they commissioners really wanted direction from the Attorney General, and at the moment, the Attorney General is on hold on pretty much everything. They've laid off most of their staff or furloughed. So that's going to be a long process, just for the point of getting
I
them.
agree, but I wonder, fresh, enthusiastic blood, from the executive, maybe he could get things fired up. Isn't there like a new commissioner or two?
No, there's no new commissioners at this point. I'm not sure because I hear a lot of feedback right now on the phone.
There's somebody's phone's
Yeah,
echoing back.
But he's a new county administrator, but I don't know if necessarily that means there's going to be any difference.
While that was driven by the previous administrator, the commissioners really fell in line.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we could suggest that Victor touch base with Michael and see if there's any reason. We have several options. We can still try to negotiate, which has not worked well. We can wait on the AG, which is rolling. We should just wait it out, or we can take it to court. And council has been unwilling to do that.
Or mute their phone.
Yeah, somebody's phone is open. We're hearing some feedback. So let's start with maybe having Victor call Michael and seeing if there's any way to move through that. And I'll touch base again with Wayne Schmidt. I'll do that today. He's actually been responsive of late. Okay, Dana, something else?
Yeah, the next thing I was thinking about holiday lights, we're not even gonna really talk about that till next year.
Holiday lights for Main Street?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not in our budget.
It's not our budget.
When do we put together the things we want to talk about for our 2021 budget then?
Well, I'll say that it's set. It's a 5-year budget. It's essentially a 5-year plan. We don't have maneuverability with great swing within that 5 years. So it's when the next plan is done, which is 2.5 years away.
Yeah, makes sense.
So what's in that plan is on the website, the wayfinding, the green space in front of the waterfront, which we haven't talked about, additional downtown parking, Merchants Walkway, which we haven't spent any time on, downtown holiday lighting is in there, as well as downtown lighting, which is what's on the 2018, 2022 downtown development plan.
So it is in there.
It's on that plan.
It's on the plan.
We don't have the money.
Yeah. And we've also had spent a fair amount of time talking about the Merchant Walkway. We might want to put that back into a committee.
I had that on the list too. Yep, I would be happy to be on that committee.
Okay. There were several of us already on that, so let's get that one back. Margo, let's send an email around about a Zoom call or something where we can do that. The hold up there though, Victor, is.
They're right, yeah.
And really, there's nothing, we don't want to spend a lot of money on that until we know what the city's willing to do.
Yeah, and so,
Right.
yeah.
I feel like a lot of that would be done through grants though, no?
No, I'm talking about the legal issues with McCready.
Yeah, the city would have to desire to institute, essentially take over of the property, the right of way there, not the right of way, but part of the property that abuts the right of way, Merchants Alley. So we can do that, and we've talked about it with legal counsel. We just haven't brought it up to council yet with everything else that's been going on, and it's not been a priority yet for the DDA. But yeah, it's a big decision to want to potentially get into a legal battle with
a
downtown Merchant.
Yes, and we've talked about just doing it roughly halfway, coming in from Spring and then taking it up to that point and then heading down to Bay. We could do that with the way the Pearsons reconfigured their seating area. You can't see the walkway like they used to be able to, and you don't see as many people moving through it right there next to Pearsons as you did before, because it looks like you're just walking back to dumpsters. So there could be some logic in just doing that first half. So let's just get the committee back together and proceed as if we're not going to take that land.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Okay?
Hey, then,
Kathy, a while ago, we spoke about the tree lighting. Is that anything that we want to delve into, or do we think the chamber will do the tree lighting?
Given what I saw, the press release from the new chamber director, that's staying with the chamber.
Okay,
Are we talking about holiday lights?
No, the Christmas tree lighting on Thanksgiving weekend,
Right up, sorry.
okay?
Yep.
Anything?
And the issue with the, other lighting, does that have to do with, like the fixture that's in the lamppost, or does that have to do with the lamppost itself?
Both.
All of that.
We had a whole committee going on that. Dan, you might want to get updated with Margot on that. We've met with a couple of different vendors. We've had plans presented to us. We actually decided upon a look. It's just how to proceed.
I'd be happy to help with that too.
Okay?
Did we have a committee about business development and how to fill stores?
Not in a few years we haven't. That's going to be a really tough one right now. I think that as much as we can do to support what we've got,
Okay.
which is constant marketing.
Just another thought too, is with the whole pandemic thing. I think there's going to be a much greater demand for outdoor dining this summer than there is for in-restaurant dining. And I was just wondering if we could talk about like what we could do to get more dining. Like, could we have like an area down at the park by the marina where there could be tables and restaurants could have like waiters going back and forth, or I don't know, just trying to think out loud here.
Yeah, thankfully, that one thing this has taught us is that takeout is really a wonderful option. So we have enough picnic tables and seating on the waterfront that I'm hoping this, given what the parking lot was like the other night at Rodrigo's, which was the greatest Cinco de Mayo party I've seen in a long time, we have taught people of the wonderful nature we have, and they could take that now, maintaining the waterfront. You know, having a staff person run back and forth from Main Street to the waterfront and cleanup and sanitation would be really difficult right now.
And in addition to that,
I understand.
Dana, that's, we're talking about a public space now, and that's a whole different conversation about, reserving a large public park space for at least parts of it for private restaurant use. So, I mean, if that idea was brought up to council, I'm sure they would discuss it, but it's not one to take easily.
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard other options of potentially expanding, down outdoor dining space on the sidewalks, but really there's not really much direction to go, toward the streets. Maybe, which I know someone talked about going toward, other businesses if they would allow them to do it. I just don't know if that would be feasible either. So, but if those ideas are brought up from someone to council or DDA, then sure, we can discuss it, but I just don't know how it'll fly.
Right, and kind of a related question is, this is kind of an embarrassing question to ask, but what if I want to have a bottle of wine while I'm eating my takeout down at the park? Is that legal, or?
Kyle, what would you do if someone wanted to drink wine at the park with their food, the takeout that they're eating? Is that against the law, right?
Yes, it's against the law, it's against our ordinance.
It's against our ordinances. So no, you would not be able to consume alcohol, open containers
In public.
in the
In
public
public.
space.
Yeah.
And
Kyle
you would-
says no.
Sorry, that was the no.
No.
Okay.
So
Okay, other-
if we did want a way to have more outdoor dining, the only way to do it is for restaurants to just have it in front of their, like I'm thinking about the New York, Pearson has their own area, Paper Station does, but they're very small, and they're tight.
No, I'm not saying that it's not possible. I'm saying that if they wanted to look at different other ways, it would have to go to council, and I'm not sure what kind of discussion that would lead to, reserving public space for private businesses. I mean, then you might get other businesses saying, well, we only can limit how many customers we have. Why don't we use public space for our business? So I'm just saying it's a much more complicated discussion than that. So I wouldn't suggest venturing down that road, but if businesses wanted to do that, they could all to council.
Can I have
What's your perspective, Matt?
and this is Kyle, there was on my chief's listserv, actually the question just came up about outdoor serve because it's outdoor and not indoor. And there's Sault Ste. Marie, I know, had an issue with a bar that wanted to do like an outdoor restaurant seating because it's outdoor, not indoor, and be able to provide alcohol. And they asked for the Attorney General's decision on that, and they didn't deem it, they said it would be the same as if it was inside. They said it's not allowable under the current guidelines, just like.
Okay.
Matt, what are your thoughts?
We would have to fence off an area if they wanted to grab a bottle of wine, and I don't even know, Chief, if that's something that would, I don't think the MLCC would go for that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I don't think the city would go for it. I think we could get it past council.
Yeah, no, I think the logistics of trying to set up outdoor dining, in a common area is, too much. And the distance that staff would have to travel to get food out there, trying to keep people from drinking and everything else. I mean, it'd be a full-time job, managing something like that.
Okay.
It'd be nice if we could do it, but
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much going on there.
It would be a great idea to see the entire waterfront filled with,
I love that, yep.
with diners and a bottle of wine, but,
You don't forget, sorry, Jody, that we had that issue. So sorry, we had the issue last year with the one day of the 4th of July Brew Fest where the boaters were really upset that the green space was being used for an event. So, I mean, it would be great to see that, but you'd also get a lot of pushback from a lot of different users. So that's why it's a complicated.
The voters are one demographic. I think that would be awesome to have like along the pier there, tables set up, and it's like what you see in other towns, It'd be a long road to get there, but I wonder what would be the purview for starting a discussion about that? Or is it just me that thinks that'd be a cool idea, me and Jody?
Well, thinking it's a good idea and thinking it's going to happen are two different things. I don't think we'd get that approved by the state.
What?
That'd be a hard thing to get approved by liquor control.
again,
Well,
unless
then I think
we talked about this, unless we wanted to, which I think would make it look really ugly, is to put snow fencing all around
Yeah.
and have an area where you go in. And that's where you would sit. You couldn't sit just anywhere you wanted to sit. But you've got, who's going to, Chief's not gonna wanna put an officer at that door so people don't walk out with a glass of wine and walk down the street. And you just, unfortunately, it comes down to security half the time. I mean, I spend my entire 4th of July doing security. I don't know anymore this year, but unfortunately, that's what it comes down to, is that there are a few that ruin it for many.
Well, it's something to look at. There's just a lot of hoops that are outside of our ability to jump through easily. And we definitely want the restaurants to be a part of that conversation.
I do have a quick update from Lucas. He said in the past, this is regarding the mulch, in the past, Rachel has given him a list of trees that owners were not planning on putting flowers in. We mulched the rest, but they should be able to mulch as we have in the past. And if you just want all the trees mulched,
All the trees mulch.
okay.
Good update.
And I also have the two other updates I had is that we have a Parks and Rec director we hired. His name is Denny McDermott. He worked for the city of Petoskey, and he also as well worked for the Petoskey State Park System for several years. So you'll see him around a lot. He's going to be doing a lot of great things for our parks, we hope. And we also have a new police officer, Mitchell McPherson, as well. So
Great.
You'll see him around, a young kid.
Great.
Did one of the Tylers leave?
No,
Matt Payer.
Matt Pater.
resigned. Yep, retired. Sorry.
Okay. Any other business?
The one business I had is the parking lot that was put up behind the Burley building, which is a beautiful parking lot and beautiful grass, 8/10 of the way around it. And then there's one stretch that there's broken trees and it just, you guys can come over and look at it. I can send you pictures, but we got to do something with that section around the parking lot because I don't really think Harbor Springs wants to present a dead tree around the parking lot for people.
If you could send pictures, Tim, it's hard for me to visualize what you're referring to.
All right, I will send you a short.
Okay, and Andy informed me that Lucas is aware of that.
Yes,
Do you think, Tim, that tree board should be involved in that?
No.
No, that's
I
not.
mean, it comes down to trimming the tree. It's been a push-pull ever since we started talking about the parking lot, whose property that is, who's going to take care of it, who's going to maintain it. So I'm just bringing it up because I look at it every day, and now that we have a public parking lot right next to it, I feel it should be maintained the way the rest of that parking lot will be.
Okay. All right, there's some feedback coming from somebody's phone again. All right, let's continue to move. Or 9:21 here. Any other business to come forward? We are unclear of whether we can proceed together for June. Let's hope that's more likely. Who knows?
I have one thing, can somebody,
Go ahead, Jody.
I missed how deep you want to get into redoing the website.
You missed what?
How deep do you want to get
Oh.
into redoing the website?
Deep.
Deep?
Deep.
Okay.
It's bad.
I was gonna mention that it is a gaslight, website.
Ours-
It is not.
it is not.
It's a Wix website. And Cindy did it, and Gaslight uses, WordPress platform.
Wait, I just went to it, it's produced by Gaslight Media.
No. Cities.
Yeah, the city's website is Gaslight. So the DDA page on our city website would be through Gaslight, but as
But not
far
our
as,
website.
but not the DDA separate website for events and et cetera. And I think that's one of the reasons why we reached out to Gaslight was because they were doing the cities. So we had suggested here that, just look to Gaslight too, but it doesn't have to be that way.
DowntownHarborSprings.com is a Wix website. It's not Gaslight.
Well, I was gonna suggest that, Becky's very savvy at all the websites. I mean, if there's, we can talk to her, she can, she would do it at a nonprofit rate.
That's another option then to add. Thanks, Jody. We've got a few now we can talk to. And we can stay with Wix. It's just not friendly. Okay. Other conversation? Let's hope we can come back together in June. If not, we'll try this format again. And everyone.
Can we try Zoom instead?
If the DDA board wants to go that direction, we can try Zoom. Everyone would have to have their laptops. And the public, the one thing that I've been hesitant about using Zoom, or at least not using at least the phone and a computer option, is because people have different connections at their home for whether they can use phone or internet. People have different understandings on how to use the internet and the phone. So we have to make this as accessible to the entire public as possible. So it's not just like a committee meeting or something where, you can just have the board members involved. So that's my one hesitancy is from going I know this is not convenient because of the feedback, but my suggestion would be if we were to stay with this option, unless we figure something else out, is to only use either or YouTube or the phone for one of, so don't be on both at the same time. But if you guys want to talk about Zoom.
Plus it turns it into a closed meeting versus an open meeting.
It's not as open as it could be, yeah.
Right.
Well, Zoom, there's have been the Zoom bombers. If you make it a public meeting, anyone's able to come through and be on board. Many of us have been using Zoom for lots of things. I use Chrome as an operating system, and Chrome's audio and Zoom just don't line up. So I would have to not use, I use my Kindle Fire, which is tiny, because Chrome doesn't work with Zoom. So there's some systems just don't work with it well.
I think this would be okay, what we're doing right now, as long as, you just stay on the phone and leave the YouTube to people who just want to watch and really don't want to talk and speak. So for the public. So the public can participate either way, but I would advise the DDA board members just to go on the phone.
Yeah.
And we're
Is
trying
there
to,
anything really to watch?
it's just you're watching Margot and Kathy talk.
Well, and
The speakers are better.
the nice thing about Zoom is that you can see everybody lined up, and there's a little green box around the person speaking, so you know what's going on more. But if we are public, it would let anybody be a part of that.
Then we could see who's talking.
Yeah, I mean, again, I can't use it. I'd have to go to the office and use a different operating system.
I don't know.
I have Chrome too.
Now then,
Looks like Kathy got a haircut, and I want to know where she got her haircut.
in my bathroom with Dash's dog scissors.
Oh, my.
Marty's next.
Brian has a mullet almost.
Oh. Okay, other items. Anything else? I know we're all hungry to talk to each other.
If you call for public comment, I think there are some people on.
Are there? There's public? We're more than welcome to hear it. Questions, comments? Nothing on YouTube.
Away.
I've been looking at YouTube also. We're fine.
The only comment from YouTube was Jody saying she's on a 5-minute delay. That's why we're here.
Jody's always a 5-minute delay. Okay, let's wrap this up. It's almost 9:30. We got a couple committees that will proceed. I'll get with Margot on that. Everyone, stay healthy. Hope to see you soon.
Thanks for your work.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.